Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that, since they were a child, in many areas of their life, felt that they always had to do more, that there was never a point where they could really rest on their laurels or get complacent, because there was always more to do, more to learn, more to do, more to prepare. And in many ways that helped them, as it does with most people with this belief system, leads to a feeling of motivation and determination, because they don't like that pressured feeling. And whenever they work hard or study hard or do what's necessary, that feeling temporarily is reprieved. So think of it as kind of a motivation strategy, that if you were squeezed in a vice whenever you got lazy, you're going to be highly motivated all the time. And that's what it feels like to people with this belief that there's always more to be done. Now, although there's a good side of that, the motivation and the work ethic, it can lead to a feeling of inadequacy and pressure and stress. And also it can lead to feelings of guilt. Because if you make the evaluation that you can do more and you don't do that, and maybe you're trying to have balance in other areas of your life, then it can lead to feelings of guilt or feelings of being an imposter. Because if you know you could have done more and you didn't do more, then you have this thought that people are going to find you out and discover you. In this hypnosis session, it was actually a client that's in the world of academia, and they were very knowledgeable about their topic, but they, again, felt that there's so much more that they could learn, that it was leading to feelings of frustration, but also a feeling of there's more to be done, and therefore they should and have to do that. And when the standards are so high, it can lead to a similar trap of perfectionism, where you can never quite do enough. And that was certainly the case in her life. So this was designed to do two key things. One, create analogies where enough is having the biggest impact. And before the actual session, I used a metaphor of art, that art is subjective, and quite often there's many things that are subjective. And just because there's more to be done doesn't actually diminish from the art that is produced. So in this case, there's various analogies and metaphors and direct suggestions, but mainly it's designed to have a belief system that enables that pressure to be released, and for them to realize that their job is not to do everything and be everything and be perfect, but to do enough linked to the intentions that they have. And if you do that, then you shift your focus from in you to the people that you're having an impact on. And if you meet that criteria, then by definition, you're doing enough. If you feel inadequate, if you feel unworthy, if you feel like an imposter, if you feel crippled by stress, pressure, and never-ending anxiety, and you don't want to keep having that, you can always click the link in the show notes to explore working with me one-on-one. The difference between these recordings, you're only ever hearing the second part of the sessions that I do with clients. A lot of what really makes the difference is the first half, where I'm doing lots of diagnostic work and challenging lots of belief systems. So to explore that, click the link in the show notes. For now, though, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of stress or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to try and bring forth a feeling perhaps of pressure, of tension, a feeling that's been there in your chest, feeling like it could fall or drop, like quicksand or a trapdoor. Not because we want to keep this feeling, but because there is a part of your unconscious mind responsible for this feeling. In order to change, the part responsible for this feeling must be present at the point where the change takes place. As you breathe in and breathe out, just imagine you're breathing in that feeling of resourcefulness, while at the same time acknowledging that there is a feeling there that you've been carrying with you perhaps your whole life. The right amount of pressure is essential. Gravity is pressure, and if all gravity disappeared, life as we know it doesn't exist. But too much pressure would destroy everything. If gravity doubles or trebles overnight, there are current things that thrive that would be crushed into oblivion. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to acknowledge that you are resilient and strong and capable because you've been living life with 2 or 3 times the pressure of the average person, and yet it still couldn't crush you. It made you stronger. And imagine if you were dealing with 2 or 3 times the gravity, and you woke up tomorrow without that gravity. That you woke up tomorrow with the same gravity that everyone else experiences. You would feel light on your feet. You would feel like everything is effortless. And what if all of these years of pressure, of stress, of high expectations wasn't wasted? What if that led you to be conscientious, hardworking, disciplined, determined, to get used to high standards? You couldn't suddenly forget all of those high standards. You wouldn't unlearn all of those skills that you've acquired. All that would happen is that you would have those, but without the relentless feeling of pressure. And if your unconscious mind is receptive to the idea of letting go of that pressure, of having a future where you have the same desires to learn, to make a difference, to add value, but without that crushing feeling of pressure there on your chest, just let me know by nodding your head. And that part that's always wanted you to have high standards, to do the very best that you can still do that. There is only one condition. They must do it in a supportive and encouraging way. The same phrase of "you haven't done enough, you don't know enough" could easily be communicated as "wouldn't it be wonderful to learn even more?" And you might end up learning exactly what you've been learning before, the difference being the pressure, the stress, the guilt, and the overwhelm is no longer there. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to remember meandering through nature as a child. Maybe you can remember an old school friend. Remember how effortless it was to explore. You saw ponds. You saw animals and nature around the pond. There were fields you would walk through, trees you would see, climb. But back then there wasn't a voice then. You haven't seen enough nature. You haven't walked enough. You were able to learn and enjoy and walk and experience things from a place of curiosity and freedom. And if the idea of living life in that realm, that frequency, that way of enjoying life because you get to, not because you have to, is starting to resonate, just imagine a door opening to a future of even greater impact, but proportionately less stress, pressure, and guilt. And if you feel ready to walk through that door, let me know by nodding your head. So let's walk through that door, counting down from 5 to 1, walking through the door into a room that represents your future. 5, seeing that open door. 4, walking through that door. 3, closing the door behind you. 2, and then 1. Just find yourself in a large empty room with a comfortable chair. Imagine sitting in that chair and then seeing a gigantic screen, maybe a projector that's projecting your future. A future where you still have the same impact, but without the stress, the anxiety, the pressure, the overwhelm, and all of the coping strategies like procrastination that link to it. Because the game of enough is a losing game. Because enough is a moving target. A creature that can never be captured. You could spend your life chasing enough and still never capture it. But I wonder what it would be like to have a new definition of enough. What if enough was the 80% required to have the biggest possible impact? And the wonderful thing is that the 80% that has the biggest impact only requires 20% of the effort, which means you could end up having 5 times the time to have 5 times the impact if you were to work just as hard as you are now, or to work less hard than you have been in the past and have an even greater impact. So imagine looking at that screen, that projector of your future, and being open-minded to an alternative reality. A reality where, in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. That you don't have to know everything in order to be the most influential person around. Just allow the weight of self-doubt, any inadequacy, to melt away. Feel a profound sense of sufficiency within you, knowing that you are more than enough just as you are. On that projector, just see a calm and articulate version of yourself, effortlessly expressing your thoughts and ideas with confidence. See that future version of you as a highly competent individual, fully capable of interacting and expressing ideas and thoughts and theories in your unique way, able to synthesize many different ideas and bring them together. I want you to see that future version of you, not just giving the information. They say that if you give a man a fish, he can eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he can feed himself for a lifetime. So I want you to see that version of you teaching your students how to be discerning, how to know the right questions, how to fend for themselves in this academic world, to choose which rabbit holes are worth diving down and which ones are not necessary. That you don't have to do it for them. In fact, it would be a disservice to have all the information, because these students will learn more when you spark a curiosity, an eagerness to learn. Your job is to whet the appetite, and their job is to continue feeding on more knowledge if they decide it's worthy of their time. Feel the warmth of self-compassion around you. You can't be perfect, so why even try? You can't know everything, so why even try? Your job is to find the leverage, finding the best use of your time to have the biggest possible impact in an efficient way where you get the ball rolling. Your job is not to win the race for other people, but to inspire them to start the race. You are a beacon of influence, radiating confidence and positivity. You have a unique perspective, a unique voice. I want you to imagine that inner dialogue of the past, that critical, pressurizing, guilt-forming voice, has always had the right intention. They wanted you to be the very best. They wanted you to have high standards. They wanted you to be significant and valuable in the world. But maybe they learned from people that didn't have the time to really nurture and encourage you. So imagine that voice softening. Same location, but a different tonality. Being encouraging. Telling you that you know so much. There is few people that are as knowledgeable as you in this area. Telling you that your job isn't to know everything, but to know enough to whet the appetite, to inspire, to encourage, to educate, to create people that are discerning, enthusiastic, to create new pioneers, to make new explorations. And I want you to hear that voice, that inner dialogue that used to be so pressurizing and critical, but now encouraging, taking all the pressure off. A loving voice, a helpful voice, an encouraging voice. And your levels of discernment mean this is the voice you want to hear more of. And whenever there's a voice of shame and pressure and guilt, treat it like a theory from someone without the credentials to be able to make such a statement. You could acknowledge it, but you don't have to give it any weight, any gravitas. You can let go of those old voices and instead allow the influential voices in your life to be the positive, supportive, encouraging voices. And as you hear those voices, feel that weight, that sensation on your chest just dissolving, being replaced with what feels like a helium balloon, a lightness, a glow of worthiness, of assurance, a feeling that you are in a unique position to inspire and educate others. And if the heavy weight that feels like it's falling has been replaced with a glowing energy of lightness, let me know by nodding your head. And every time you take the time to inspire and educate and inform, every time you hear that voice of encouragement in your head, and every time you know that you're doing something that can have a positive impact on the world, you'll feel that lightness in your chest. And that raises the lightness in your whole body, making it feel that you can live life without the pressurizing gravity of the past, and feel that all that strength, all that resilience that you've accumulated now means you can feel the weight off your shoulders. You can feel like you're gliding. You can feel that you don't have to hold on to this crushing expectation that you're not enough anymore. And as you release that pressure and you see that future version of you smiling more, enjoying life more, seeing what you do as a privilege, something you get to do, not have to do, that all of this is a choice. Step into that future version of you and feel how good it feels to be impacting people, inspiring people, facilitating their discernment. Hold on to that feeling and then feel that you are returning to a forest, a field, a pond with this wonderful feeling of freedom. And feel like you're returning to the present again with that wonderful feeling. And in doing so, you're letting go of the guilt and pressure of the past and opening a portal into acceptance and freedom. Your standards will remain just as high, but you'll get to enjoy the journey so much more. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, feeling like you're returning to the present as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, motivated, worthy, breaking free of the shackles of not being enough. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.